Yes, hello guys, and welcome to another live show today. So I'm going to be answering questions. I'm starting back live session that I'm just be answering questions on let's say giving you ideas how to network with football clubs. So it's been quite some time that I'm starting live session. So but I'm going to be doing this regularly. I need to adjust my camera. It's quite a little bit shiny on my face, but well, that's fine. So I'm here again. I stopped live session probably. Was how long was it did I do the last live session? Probably before the write the FIFA agent exam. But live session I'm going to be doing is not about FIFA agent exam. It's just to answer people questions on how to build connections with club. If you're an agent, parent, or whosoever that you want to know this information, I'm here for you guys to answer this question. So who am I? I'm Gaucho Brand FIFA licensed agent. I move around teaching. I teach agent how to build connections with football clubs. If you follow me on LinkedIn, then probably you know what I'm talking about. And also, I also try to move around Scandinavian countries. That's in Europe, northern part of Europe, interviewing CEOs, sporting directors, just to ask what it takes to for them to bring always an agent to work with them at their football club. So this is what actually I do. But yes, I love what I do, and I try to help people as much as I can. So I'm going to be building live stream. I'm streaming today to 0% because I haven't actually told anyone, and I don't want to tell anyone now. Actually, I just want to keep just going like that. So I'm going to be doing these live sessions regularly, and I'm going to be answering your questions. Most of the time, the live question is just I'm going to build this now more of trying to make you guys, when you come up, you're coming up with your questions so that I answer. I learned a little bit about this from friends also because most of the time when I try to come up with a program, teach you guys, it's always something like people just come and listen. They don't really actually take action, and I've noticed that. So it's something that I want to give back to many people. Something I want them to work, put in some effort, take actions because the more I teach people about, let's take for example networking with football clubs, if you don't take action, it goes nowhere. I keep singing in your ears. So it's almost like I want you to ask your question, what you're struggling with, then we target that, we answer that, then you go and try it. If you are stuck somewhere, then you come back and then I try to answer the same question again for I try to answer and help you more. Then when you do this, you become more successful. That's the best way I can do. So the live sessions are going to be involving, let's take for example, if players who are struggling with contracts have an idea of want to come and ask. This is not just for agents. I'm going to be answering just generally. If you're a player that you're struggling with to get a good agent, this live session also is for you. If you're a player, then I can guide you like using LinkedIn how to find a good agent. If you're a parent that you need to know how transfer, if you need to know how to find an agent whatsoever, this live session is for you. So generally, I it's just a live session for more, not just football agents, players. If you want to get, let's say, know how to build connections with agents, that's also for you. So generally, so I don't want to limit it because I always do live sessions just with agents, trying to teach them. But this live session will be all about like trying to know a lot, the players learning how to, let's say, players learning how to get good agents. I answer those questions as well. I'm an agent as well. And also for agents, it's also for you because mostly as I'm an agent, I can also teach you guys if you want to, let's say, get in contact with a club. I teach you how I network with football clubs. For example, most of the people I've always been teaching online, you get information like, as I always say, the first thing I always try to go to a club, I try to do face-to-face network with them because it's much easier to build connection from that way. That's also what I'll be talking on for agent side. Then also for the upcoming agents, those trying to write the FIFA agent exam, I think for 2 years now I've been teaching also agents how to write the FIFA license exam, giving them tips how to pass the exam. So it's a just a broad live session that I'm giving you guys feedback on how to develop yourself, whether you're an agent, you're an aspiring agent, whether you're a parent. If you're a parent and you want to have information on how to get yourself or your child into an academy or a professional football club, there are ways I can always give you guides on that. So yes, those are just the basic things that I'll be answering here. And this live session always come around to I'll now answer your questions. That's quite easy. So normally today, when we talk of if we talk of questions first, I will stay on the position of, let's say, when we talk of networking, I'll show a little bit more information about myself. As I said, Gaucho Brian is my name, FIFA licensed agent, living in Finland. I live actually specifically in a city now closer to the north of Finland, Kuopio, and I teach people, agents online how to write the FIFA agent exam and pass. I also help agents get network with football clubs. So I also have a community on school that I try to teach people on agents that. But well, that's not why we're here. Why we're here to answer your questions. So this is what I'm going to be doing, and I'm going to kick on from that regularly. So each time if you see me live, I'm just going to put questions and answer, and then you can join, ask your question, and we're going to build on from there. So let's see how many days also a week I can do. It's a maximum, I think, twice a week I can do that because I have a lot of other commitments. So I cannot say I'm going to do that regularly. Once a week is normal, but if I want to do maximum, that's twice a week as well. So I cannot just do a lot of time, a lot of live because I have a lot of commitment and I don't want to promise something that I'm not going to deliver. Okay, so yes, let's look at why this video. Let's see what I can try to help you guys on. As you can see on the thumbnail, how to build relationship with football clubs. Let's talk about that first, so that those who are not here, when you come back another time, you can watch this video. Things as I'm filming, this is new and I haven't informed anybody, so probably yes, I'm going to be talking to an empty camera, which is quite normal for me at the beginning of this stage. So I'm used to this. And at one point in time, I know people are going to be coming. But anyway, how do I build relationship with football clubs? As you can see from the thumbnail. So if I was a new agent starting to build relationship with football clubs, this is what I would do. The first thing I will do is I will do face-to-face connection. That's my go-to guy. I won't be writing sporting directors. I won't be writing sporting directors, spamming them with a lot of emails because I know they are not going to respond. What I will do is, if I have a club closer to where I live or to in the or the country I live, or find a club that I want to work with, I advise that first start building your network in the country where you are. That helps a lot, so that you can learn your profession gradually from there. So what I'll do is, first thing I'll do is I will go watch the training session of the people or the club that are in my city or where I live. What you're trying to do is you're trying to develop a network. You're trying to know the people who are working in the professional clubs around your area. So don't when you sit home and spam a lot of sporting directors, it's challenging for them to actually respond to you because they don't know you and they don't trust you. But when you go to training ground, just sitting and watching training session, normally when you watch training session, what always happen at training session is that the sporting directors, head of academic directors, and scouts. Sometimes they always hang around. They're just seeing what the coaches are doing. So sometimes you can kick in by you can just start to have a conversation with one of them. A good line to always start is just like say, hey, if the person is by your side, you say, oh, very nice intensity training. And you ask something like a question like, hey, is this a fitness training, or this is just maybe tactical training session for today, or is this the normal tempo they usually train? Throw a question like that belongs to that you can get answer from the person watching. And probably he might say, well, this is a tactical session preparing for the upcoming game, something like that, because that's a basic question that anybody would like to answer. Then from there, you go on and say, hey, okay, good. I'm Brian, a new agent, and I'm just came here. I came here to see how the team is working towards playing games. I wanted to learn the game model. So, and you kick on from there, and you might ask the person, "Hey, um, how long have you been coming here to watch the training session?" The person might say, "Hey, I work at this football club." You say, "Ah, okay, good. I never knew that. So, who are you?" And he start, maybe he might say, "I'm a scout," whatsoever he might say. So you kick on from there and start building the relationship. And from there you can say, "Hey, nice to talk to you. I'll come around. Hopefully I see you there next time." Bam. That's how you start your conversation. I know you have to improvise and learn how to start conversation. You don't just need to go there, sit, be done, and don't speak. So that's best way to start conversation. And then you kick in from there. And then from then on, when you come on, you can, if the person is there, you say hi, and you always talk something about the team, the session. If, let's say, if in that session, if a left back who is probably, let's say, playing with speed and whatsoever, you can talk about, oh my God, this left back is so energetic. Where does it come from? And you try to learn about the profile of the player, and you discuss in details that when you start having this kind of conversation, you are building relationship with someone, and these are coming natural, so that at one point in time, people can exchange contacts. You can exchange contact with that person. Then in future, the person you can start building relationship towards sporting director or towards the person who head of recruitment for that football club. That's just how you build connection. You have to learn how to communicate with people, because in this industry, if you don't know how to build connection, it's going to be challenging for you. Okay. Most of these things I try to learn, because I read books, and to keep improving my networking, my communication skills. These are quite very important. So on my table, I always usually have a lot of books, business books, a lot of things. Yes, I have a lot of books that I read just to improve my communication. So another one is Think and Grow Rich, and a lot of business books. But anyways, sticking to the topic, try to improvise when you go to watch training session. So that's the first advice I'll give to a lot of agents. If you are starting to build from scratch, start from there. Like sometimes mostly that's my best way I do that. But sometimes I can send emails to people, because I already have certain following on LinkedIn, that I can sit and I can send emails to sporting directors, or I can also send messages to sporting director using my LinkedIn profile, because I know they're going to look at my LinkedIn profile and say, okay, they would like to communicate with me, because I have some following. You see, so those are important things that you have to pay attention to, because it's when you are building from scratch, you have to start from zero and build, but also provide value. So that's the first thing I would say if you want to build a relationship. So, and I always say, I remember I was having actually a session yesterday with my community on school, and there's one of the people there always said, I always talk of value, and actually I was really happy to answer his question, because he was asking question about value. That each time I talk of value, and I'm still talking about it here, because value is something that if you're an agent and you don't provide value, no one is going to respond to you. I learned that very from day one very easily from a mentor that I used to always listen to. Because at football clubs, what they do is, if you don't provide value, no one wants to work with you. That's the fact. No one wants to work with you, because they feel like you are not really, really, there's no really reason for them to respond to you. That's a fact. So find a way to always provide value. Another way, a best way to provide value is when you're building a relationship with club, you can come up with, let's take for example, I come from Africa, Cameroon, that's Central Africa, West Africa, in between. So if I'm to build relationship with an agent, with a football club, what I'll be doing is I'll try to find young upcoming players who are from Cameroon and that are who have played the under 17, and I'll and then I'll watch the game, see one who is doing better, and I can just tell. I can also compile some few um, data and reports about those players who have been doing well and have been performing well, and showing that to the sporting director of a football club. I say, hey, these are the if you don't mind, those are the people that are having potential. That if your club needs them, you need to pay attention to send your scout to actually rewatch these people, because probably you might get good value if you sign them and sell them. I'm not asking you just give them for free, but giving them value. So you have to act as someone that can provide value, so that in return, when they see that you have an eye for signing players, they'll come chasing you off. Because at one point in time, they'll ask you that, hey, do you have a right winger? Do you have a left winger? But you have to start by providing value. This is just an example of providing value. So I wanted to give people an example of what you can do, which is actual value. Okay, so that's the first thing you can always think of. And that's also the best way to keep building your connection with football clubs, because when you build connections with football clubs that you are providing value, they think of you a lot. But when you build connections with football clubs that you don't actually provide value, they see you almost like a salesperson. Especially, let's take for example, if you're an agent that you contact, you're trying to contact clubs only when you have, let's say, you're thinking of a transfer, or one of your players that you want that player should be sold to a football club so that you can generate or you can get commission. Most of the time, if you do that, they see you like a salesperson, so they don't actually want to work with you. So it's very important that you know what you're always going for. You have to learn to know. You have to learn that for a football club to trust you and build relationship with you, you need to make them feel like they provide value to them. Okay, so that's very important, and those are one of the things that you can always keep in mind. That how do you benefit? How do you keep in contact with football club? A best way also is to also use LinkedIn. If you use LinkedIn regularly, it's quite very useful. So start also building your profile as for on LinkedIn if you're an agent, or if you're a player. Start also building your profile on LinkedIn. There is a professional platform where you get a lot of people who are working at football clubs. When you build your profile for a player, you just need to have, let's take for example, a highlight video, and also but very good, your recent matches that you have played, because I see a lot of young players contacting me on LinkedIn that they want me to work with them as their agent. But when you ask them that, okay, send me information about you, they will send you a 2-minute highlight video. So the question I'll ask is, no one really teaches them this. Are you expecting scouts? Are you expecting me to send that video to football scouts or to football clubs? A 2-minute highlight video, which is never going to do anything for football, because if someone sees that, it goes nowhere. So the reality is, when you are trying to build connection with football clubs, you cannot send 2-minute highlight video to a football club, because players don't play football on highlight. The best way to always send is, even if you send your highlight, have 2 full matches of your recent games to send to them. That's how they start taking you that you are serious. But if you just sit and probably you don't if you just sit and you don't do anything, and you're sending 2-minute highlight videos to a football agent, no one is going to take you serious. The person has a lot of messages coming down his inbox, so he's never going to respond to you. He's just going to swipe that and move on. Okay, so those are the things that you need to also look out for if you want to keep building your connections. Let's see. Today, actually, there's no one online. Like, I would have been getting questions from you people, but I actually know. So today, let's say finish time. So I'm going to be starting this. I'm going to be doing more of this live. We're going to start always at, let's say, 9 o'clock. Let's see. Hopefully 9 o'clock can be, or 9:30 on Tuesday. Well, let's see. Hopefully I'm going to drop a time there and see which one works actually. Okay, just to look for some few questions and answer before I go. How do I find the right person at a club? Okay, this one, most people, agent always ask this, to find the right person at a club. I don't think that's the right person is like sporting director, head of recruitment, those people that you want to work with. I think the best way is always to, you can look at their website, but when you call them, most of the time people don't respond. So as I said again, if you want to go to that football club and actually start building your connection with the people you meet at the football club, and then you walk your way through to the right person. That's the best way I can say. If you start building relationship with sporting directors, it helps you. It helps, but it's never going to work because it's challenging for you to meet those people. Those people are always very busy. So, but if you go to a football club and you meet just, let's say, a scout or a fitness coach, start with that person, asking him question and building that relationship. Because he works at that football club, at one point in time when he trusts you, he's going to take you to another person who is working closer to the sporting director, or it might be the head of academy director, or maybe even the sporting director. So just start with someone working at the club, and then you work your way through. That's the first thing. That's very important thing. Let's look another question from these questions I just checked. Should I contact the sporting director or the scout first? The sporting director is the one who makes the decision at the football club. So if you have a way to contact the sporting director, good and fine. But the sporting director is the one who pulls the strings. So the scout reports to the sporting director. So because the scout is okay, you understand. So the scout works under the sporting director. What should my first message to a club look like? I think your first message to a club, it shouldn't be something that you should be focusing on message as a new or upcoming agent. The first thing is try to build relationship with football clubs, and that's going to help you more. That's the first thing I would say. How often should I follow up if they don't reply? If they don't reply your message, and you say you want to follow up, it might be like in give them 3 to 5 days. About 3 to 5 days, you can follow up, but don't just following up with no information. Probably if you send a mess if you send a player, let's say this is a situation that you send a message to someone that the person has been replying to you. So this someone you're already in contact with the person. So let's take for example, you send a player and the person probably was busy and never responded and maybe forgot. You can reply probably also giving information like, hey, just to follow up on uh, my last message. These are some reports on the player I mentioned to you. He just recently played, had an assist, or give information about the player, just something like that. Basically, that's how you follow up by adding a little bit of more value to what you already provided. Okay, those are the things that you can do to build relationship. And one thing that I always talk to people, relationship building, it has to be both way. It shouldn't be that it shouldn't be what I see agents running and begging sporting directors. No, it shouldn't be like that. Once you know how to provide value to football clubs, you don't need to beg a sporting director. You just need to stick to providing value to them, and they will find you because they need you. Because same like sporting directors, they run after agents which they know they can get good players or good value from them. But when you don't provide value, you start chasing them and they run and leave you. So find a way to give something that they will look after. They will start coming for you. Also, that's how it works. It works both ways. Let's see the next question. How often should I follow up if they don't reply? I answered otherwise. Should I send a player immediately or build relationship first? Building relationship is very important because when you send a player to someone who a sporting director who doesn't trust you, it's never going to respond. So let's take a look at this. So let's take, for example, a sporting director has a transfer budget of 10 million or whatsoever it might be according to the level of the league. And I'm talking specifically, like let's take, for example, the Scandinavian league. Let's take, for example, a team in Norway. I'm just giving an example. And then he has to make, let's say, 5 signings with those 10 million. So now, which that's even still huge because some have lower transfer budget of, let's say, 6 million. So let's take it, and they want to they buy players like 500,000, and then probably after 2 years, they say the player. Now let's look at this. So if you have a player of, if you are, so what was I been saying a little bit? Okay, I was talking about transfer budget of a sporting director. So if they don't trust you, it's very difficult for them to give 500,000 for your player. It doesn't work that way. You need to make them trust you, and that is how you can start building relationship with them. Because for them to trust you and start spending money and buying your players that you are representing them is huge. It means they really trust you, and for that to happen, you have to build that relationship with them, not just spamming them. Another question is, how do I approach clubs I have never spoken to before? This is a good question, and this is what every new agent faces. The first thing I'll just say is just go to that club and start building that correct connection. It At the beginning you're going to feel very awkward because it's your first time there, but the more you try, the more you get used to that, and from there you break into that system. That's the best thing I can help you. Don't sit and send thousands of emails and never get reply. Only the agents who do this start to break into the industry and start to get transfers. When you don't get and if you don't do something to approach clubs, trust me, in future you're going to spend your time forget you're going to spend your time having your license and not doing anything. That's just the reality. What do I say when a sporting director says, "Send me a player"? Um, well, this shows that this question you're already working with a sporting director, and if he says send you a player, then you have to give him a good player so that next time he can keep asking you a player. So don't send him any kind of crap player that he feels like, oh, this player is not working. I mean, this thing is not working, and I'm going to probably not work with this agent again. Okay. What mistakes are agents making when contacting clubs? The first mistake agents are making when contacting clubs is they try to contact clubs already selling their players to clubs, which it doesn't actually work. So you have to if you are contacting a club, you have to build a relationship with a club, and also you have to build a relationship with a club before talking about selling players. How many clubs should an agent realistic be building relationship with? Well, as if you're a beginner agent or a sole entrepreneur or a beginner agent, if I will always say target one club and get to know them. Be that guy that agent that when transfers happen, they contact you. Like for me, I want to have a specific club that I should be the dominant agent. That's how you have to think. That most of the time they look at you. When you have that, know that you are going places. So I have a club in mind that I have to try to know how all the transfer budget work, everything work. Where do they sign their players? I start studying that and knowing how I'll starting from scratch, giving them market tips. And then at one point in time, they believe in me. Then I start sending them players. I have players at club. But I want to be the dominant figure agent in specific clubs. So you can only start with one club. Okay, that is it for this video. And today was just a test video, and so we agree here that probably the next live show will be on Thursday. I'm going to put that on my link. I'm going to put that. So I'm going to be doing two shows, two live session on Tuesdays and Thursdays, just to answer your questions. So it will be something of questions and answer. I'm not going to be doing live sessions on delivering topics to people. It's just going to be question and answer. So I'm going to put that on. I'm going to put that on my post. So so let's say we can do 9:30 every Tuesdays and Thursdays. 9:30 every Tuesdays and Thursdays. Let's try to see if it's too challenging. Then we're going to make 9:30 just every Tuesday. Okay. So that was it for this video, and hopefully, but I'm back online live session. It's been long I did live session, so this was just a test, and for 30 minutes is quite okay. So let's see how everything goes. Hopefully everything works and I answer your question and You as an agent, you sign your first player, and also if a player pops in, I can give him idea on how to get his first agent, all these things. Okay, take care and bye for now. Cheers.